welcome back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry. This is your sew along here on your Wednesday video. This is the pick and mix that we're doing out of the APQ magazine. And we are on week 5. This is a 6-week sew along. Last week we made the triangle squares and the sashing units. That is these and these. Okay, so we should have made last week at least 8 of these sashing units for the ends of our rows. We have 4 blocks in a row and one of these on each end. And then between the blocks we have one of these cut pieces that we had cut from the beginning in our cutting week that we had. So we had to make up all of our triangle units as well. So we have all of this ready for this week's task, and that is assemble A and B sashing strips and block rows. So we're going to be looking at page 20 and 21. Okay, I kind of had a happy accident, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. But the A and B rows are here. Here's an A in the top, an A in the bottom, and a B at the top under the A row, and a B at the bottom above the A row. So here are the pieces that we're going to need and how many. So you should have left on your board or in your bin 20 2.5-inch squares in your background fabric, 25 of your 2.5-inch squares of your tone-on-tone newsprint, whatever you're using. And then you should have 20 left of these. However, I went ahead and made sashing units out of all of these that I had, out of 16, and I only needed 8. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my 8 that I need for my vertical sashing, which I have not attached to my blocks yet. I went ahead and made 8 more. And that was an accident, but it's going to work out in my favor. So you may want to do this too, and I'll show you why. We should be making 2 A strips and 2 B strips, right? For the tops and the bottoms, just these long strips here. But what has happened, because I did this, that means that I kind of doubled up. So let me get a pencil so that I can not make any permanent marks on this pattern in case I need to show you something else. So what that means is I have made this unit right here. This one right here. Okay, and I've made all of them. There's 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. All right. Right here. So I already have those. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be making my A and B strips at the same time. And I like that because you don't have as many things to line up on this long line of sewing. So what that means is I'll go ahead and use the ones that I've already made, but I'll be making these units right here. I'll add a unit like that to the end, and then I'll be adding these units in between these that I already have made. So that is basically, it's going to be 2 of my light squares, my print square, and my half square triangle. And you can tell that because it's shaded. Wherever it's shaded, that indicates your tone on tone, or whatever you want to call it, the print, the newsprint one. So I'll be making 6 of these because we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. I'll be making 6 of these and 4 of these. Now I will have to pay attention and make sure that I get my print in the right position on these. So I'll have 2 up here and 2 at the bottom. So I quite like that I made that mistake. So this is what it's going to be like. It would be like this, and then I will have let me pull this off so I can show you. Let me just put these over to the side, and I'll grab from them and show you how this is going to go. So here's what you can do. You've got your half square triangle here, and your plain block here, or square. And then you'll have another one here, and then you'll have this one here. Okay? And then this will all fit down on your first row of blocks. But you're going to keep going with this. Once you make this little 4-patch, you can put that right on there. Sew it right on there. And then on this side, you're going to have just a plain square here and a print square here. So you can go ahead and make your 6 2-patches and your 4 4-patches, just like I just showed you. So let me get that on here again. It looks like this, and then I need one of these, and another one of these. So here's what you need to do. You need to make 4 of these and 6 of these, and then attach them to 8 of these. Okay, so you'll have 1, 2, 3, you'll have 4 of these going across with these in between. Does that make sense? I hope so. If you do them that way. If you want to go back to this page and just do it like this, all you have to do is just line them up, just like it shows right here. So I'm going to go ahead and make mine, since I kind of have to, right? I'm going to go ahead and make these units up and these units up. So we need 6 and 4. Okay, let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I have a correction from that last and first clip. You do not need 20 of these, you need 4 of these. I miscalculated when I was going to put this together. I was like, I need 16 of these. Well, my 16 was already sewn on. I needed 20. So I had 4 left, but then I went and made 16 more again. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, you shouldn't have any more of these left now. You should started this video out with 4 of these left. And that's what you're making these end units with on the A and B. So here's your top one. Okay, so your first unit here is going to go up against that. You see how the shoe fly is starting to form? And then on the other end, you'll have this. And then in between, you'll have 2 more of these, just like this. And they will have these in between, like this. So you'll have one like this, and one like this, and so forth. So you'll have 4 of these going across the top of your quilt. So once you get this A and B row together, you can just sew it right onto to the top of your first row. Okay, so the bottom is the same thing. Let me get this out of the way. Same thing. It's going to be turned up a different way, like this. No, it is like this. And then you're going to have your bottom like this. And you can make all 4 of these the same. Just fixate in on one 4 square unit in the pattern. Fixate in on that. Let me show you right here. Just fixate in on that and make 4 of them. Exactly the same. Because you'll be able to turn them to the directions they need to lay in. So this is what this one would be on the bottom. And then the other end would be like this. And then in between your other 3, you will have this. So you should have 6 of these, 4 of these, 15 of these left for your other, the sashing, horizontal sashing, and you should have 6 of these left. So 14 or 15 and 6 of these is what you should have after you make these. So 4 and 6. Now all's left to do is put it together. So I'm going to go ahead and put together this whole section here, and I'll show you that, and also this bottom section, same thing, just flipped upside down. Here's my top A and B unit, I'll call it. Instead of an A strip and a B strip, I have an A-B unit, which I like doing it that way. I like it better than just doing the long strips. So if you just look across, you see as you put these 2 patch units in, you get the same thing that you have on the ends. So there it goes, all the way to the end. Okay, so what's going to happen now is once I get my vertical units on that I made last week onto my blocks, you see that shoe fly completing there. So I need to get busy and get my verticals done, get my A and B unit bottom unit done, and yeah, getting so close here. So let me do some more work so I'll have some more to show you, and then we'll get on to the border. Okay, let's talk about our border strips. Our quilt top should be together now, other than the border strips. So we have 2 on the left, 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom. You always put your shorter one on to the left side and right side first, and then your longer top and bottom. Now these called for 7 strips, and you will end up with, if you join all of these together and then cut the lengths that you need for these 4 pieces on your pattern, then you will have 16 inches left. So what I want to mention to you is if you're one of these who like to do the diagonal joins on a border, which, you know, you can do that. That's allowed. You're going to lose 4.5 each time you do it. So I don't know if that 16 is going to be enough. If you have enough fabric to cut an extra 4.5 inch strip, you should have plenty if you want to do this to reduce the bulk. As for myself, I do have extra fabric I could use, but I'm just going to cut these sewages off and join them with the 1/4. I'm fumble fingered here, just like this, just straight. So I'm going to join all 7 of mine first, like that, and then I'm going to cut my 4 pieces that it's asking me to cut, put on my left side, and then put on my top and bottom. So let's get sewing these together. Alright, one more tip, just before we get finished here, I'm putting my last border on, and they're fitting quite nicely. I do want to mention that if you have trouble getting your main quilt top before you put the borders on the right size, then you're going to want to pin your border pieces on. Put a pin at one end and then the other end, then in the middle up here somewhere, and then fill in between. Now I could tell that once I cut the sizes that they said and I laid them against my quilt, they were going to fit perfectly. So I did not pin because I don't like pins. I only use them when I absolutely have to. But as you can see, it came out perfectly, so I could afford to do that. But if you're still kind of new and you're trying to perfect your piecing, not that my piecing is always perfect, this one happened to turn out pretty good. You're going to want to pin, and probably pin a lot. So you cut your strip according to the size they say, and then you make it fit your top. And the reason being is if you don't do that, you're going to get a long wave like this. It'll be like this in your quilt top. If your quilt top is too small or if it's too large, you're going to get some weirdness. So you're going to want to have to pin, and then ease in as you're trying to, make that border fit your quilt top. And it may sound wrong to do that, but I can guarantee you that that is what you need to do. You need to make it fit. Unless it's an inch off or something, then you might want to, trim some down just to get by. But for the best result, go ahead and make your strips fit according to the size that they are saying that it should be. So I hope that helps. I struggled with that a lot in the beginning when I started quilting again, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't just make the strip longer and then cut it after I sewed it. But I learned really quickly that, oh, that's what they're talking about. You get these weird, you know, just kind of diagonal waviness in your quilt, or it might flare out. You know, like if it's too big, it might flare out on you or something. So go ahead and take that advice if you're kind of new. And if you're not new, this is what we do. We measure out and cut according to the pattern and make it fit our top. Okay, so I'm ready to press this and show you my finished quilt top. Pick and mix with Fragrant Fields. I love how this turned out too. I kind of thought it was going to be too much purple at first. I kind of would have liked to have seen a little more of that teal, that dark teal in there too, and some of the lighter colors, but I do like it. My green, I'm kind of on the fence about the green. It is light enough that it gives the effect that the pick and mix pattern designer wanted, I think. But I think the real effect is something even lighter than that. But it's okay, I like it fine. I think I'm going to use one of those medium tones for the border. I could use the green, not border, binding. I could use the green for the binding too. I might. I don't have enough fabric left from the layer cake squares to make a scrappy binding. I thought about doing that, but I don't think there's enough. I might look again and see, but either way, I'm not much on putting a dark border around anything, but one of those mediums, like, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like this one, that would make a good border. I mean binding. How many times do we mix that word up? Every time. One of these flowered ones here would be good. And see, I didn't care about my text print on that one, did I? Yeah. This was a fun project. I enjoyed it very, very much. I hope you did too. I've seen a lot of your finishes already on the Facebook group, and I'm hoping to see more of them for Finish It Friday. And I will put mine on Finish It Friday again too this week, because this was so much fun. Alright, that's the last video for this sew along, and we'll be starting something new here before long, so get ready. Alright, we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.